Hi everybody, happy St. Patrick's Day, and this is Tony Hall. Good to see everybody. Here we are. So this is day 2 of the Reimagine School Challenge, and as I've been thinking about it, I've been really getting some great comments from you guys about really how you can apply these practices to your life. So if you need to reimagine things that you're doing in your life, this could be a good way to do that too. And so here we are, day 2. And so when we're talking about reimagine, so we're going to focus on the E this time. The E is reimagine environments. So I'm sitting right now in a different environment that I do my principals chat and other talks. Usually I'm in my office, but you know what? We need to really reimagine our environments, because if you, like me, have been home for a while, you have to think about how to make things a little bit more interesting, because of the fact that some of you may have giant homes. I have a average sized house, but how can you make it different? Right now I'm sitting in my little breakfast nookie area. So not normally where I do work, but I'm reimagining it, trying something different, just because my office is quite small, and you gotta mix it up a bit. So how do we reimagine our environments? How do we do that? Well, first of all, we have to figure out what to take out. So this is a great time. A lot of you are doing like spring cleaning and things. It's a great time to figure out, what could you take out of your classroom? What could you take out of the school that you don't need any longer? Because a lot of times in your mind, you will feel freer. You will feel like a lot of times less stress if you declutter. So that's something huge. What could you take out of your environment? Then think about what could you bring into your environment. So when we're talking about that, we're not just talking about physical things. You guys, we got to use our senses. We have to reimagine our environment by using our senses. So we want to use our sense of sight, obviously. How can we make it a place that is comforting to kids, that is inviting, that includes everyone, so that every kid that comes in sees a part of them in that room, which is really, really important too. So that's one. Then you got to think about, what are you hearing in your environment? So right now, I just kind of hear the fan I have on, but you might want some of that white noise. You might want some music. You might want, it really depends, sound effects. One of the teachers at my school the other day, when the kids were doing presentations and she had music playing, they had like walk-up music. You have to think about all those different things. What do you want to add? And thanks, Lisa, for commenting about the minimalist. I've been following your journey. And yes, when you get rid of some of those things that are just kind of a burden on you, this is a great time to take those out of your life and move on, because those are just material things anyway, which are not the most important things. Okay, so we're talking about what to bring back in. We want to obviously see things. Okay, we want to hear things. So what do we want to hear? Maybe we want it to be silent at certain points in our learning journey, but sometimes maybe not. And guys, I'm talking to you as an educator, but also we're talking about in your life. So okay, so see, hear, what do you want to smell? I know that sounds really crazy, but teachers sometimes like to have different scents in the room. Some different scents are calming scents, like lavender is a calming scent. So what do you want your room to smell like? We know, I've been in middle schools for 27 years. Not the best smell usually. So what do we want our school to smell like? And I remember walking in a classroom just like a week ago. We've been really doing cleaning, obviously. And a kid said, "It smells so clean in here." So that made that kid really happy and they felt safe and secure because of that. So that's pretty cool. That's really cool. Also, what do you want to feel in your classroom or in your school? At MVLA, we have lots of different learning environments, and teachers make it their own. And you have to also make it what the kids want. So kids love textures. So certain areas, they have little reading areas, and I know you guys have reading nooks. What does it feel like? Do you have pillows? Do you have little couches? Do you have like those wobbly chairs? What does it feel like? That's really important to kids, but it's also important to adults. So like right now I'm sitting at a breakfast nook table. Probably not my favorite for when I'm working, but it's fine for what I'm doing right now. But that really makes a difference. And if I sit on the couch, I usually am less productive than when I'm at my desk. So you have to think about how the environment feels. The last sense obviously is taste. Probably not important when you're talking about environment, especially nowadays, but you know, that's just wanted to kind of comment on that. But you know, this is a big thing, guys, too. Ask your kids, because every year is different. I know as teachers we want to get our classrooms set up and it's like, it's set, here we go. I was like that, but you can't do that. Not anymore. No one. We don't know. Our kids are evolving so quickly. Learning's evolving. So how can we bring kids in? One of the coolest things is to make it inviting, yes, but it's kind of a blank canvas for your kids to really paint. And I know our houses do that, so we are divided into houses if you don't know about my school. And the house teacher really asks the kids, what do you like? They ask them to bring in things. If that student brings in something that they love, then that environment is going to be something they connect to. So environment is so important. And them having student voice and choice in that environment and is also an important piece. Also, kids, parents, I mean, I know in the beginning of the year, houses got, they decorated the houses based on their house colors, of course. And parents brought in different items and kids brought in things. And that's so cool because you are using the environment as a place that they're going to be there so much. A lot of times kids are there more than they are at home. And so how can they walk into the environment and feel loved, feel safe, and feel happy? That's what we want. Also think about your environment and how you reimagine your virtual environment, because that's really important nowadays. For the next 3 weeks here in New Mexico, we're home. So what could our kids, how can that learning environment be reimagined? It's not just, oh, just go on a website, but how can we create something? So right now what we're doing at MVLA, we're doing like a virtual Spirit Week. So that's something really easy, a great idea that I got from another principal. And so and kids are posting pictures and it just gets them connected. It keeps them connected in what, during this time when we can't be physically together. There's really just so many different possibilities. You want multiple uses too for rooms. If you don't know, my school is actually made up of 8 portables. And you know what? When you first hear that, you think, oh my gosh, how do you manage that? Well, we use those spaces for different things. They have multiple purposes. So you got to have these multiple purposes for areas in your house, at your school, in your classroom. How can you quickly reimagine your classroom for the next lesson that you're going to teach? And how do you rearrange it? And we have a master teacher that does this when she does like a courtroom when she's going over a court case or she wants to do a mock trial, then the classroom gets set up that way. So it really makes a difference because our brains, when we are in an experience, even if it's not the actual thing, our brains, when we visualize and then when we see our environment that way, our brains interpret it as we actually did it. It's really a cool way of thinking about it. So when you transform, and we're talking, these things are not expensive. Butcher paper goes a long way. Construction paper, things at the dollar store go a long way. And it's just that the student, when they come into that learning environment, or you, when you get ready to work, you are ready for that experience and about setting the stage for that experience. So it's super important to think about how we reimagine our environment at school and at home, because we've had to reimagine, right? We know that we're all in our houses, and unless you live in a mansion, which even then you might be bored, you got to think about, where can I work today? How can I use the kitchen differently? Right now, like I said, I'm sitting at this breakfast eating area. How can I use it differently so that it's interesting and not the same old, same old. Our kids don't want that, and we don't want that. So think about how you can reimagine your environment to really create an experience for your kids that they want to be at school each and every day, because they can't wait to see what the environment's going to look like. And they know that our teachers and that our staff are trying to think about it differently. And when kids come in, it's a surprise. I call it big wows. So we love that. And it is building community with our kids, as Lisa said it there. And she talks about calming corners too. You know, there's so many different things that your brain will explode with all the ideas. But the best way for you to think about it is think about your kids, get their information. So really, like, ask them, put up a big piece of paper and get their ideas. Let them write it down. What does that learning environment look like to your kids, to their learning styles too? Because sometimes too much going on is actually a detriment to some of the way kids learn. So, you know, this is the thing. Every day over these next few weeks, I want us to just think about how we can reimagine certain areas of our school and also of our life. And so reimagining our environments. I'm about to reimagine my office because it's definitely getting filled with books. And again, what do we need to get rid of? What do we need to bring in? And tangible and not tangible. Also, who do we need to bring in? Because that's another part, is guest speakers. I mean, how can you reimagine your environment? Think of the who. Once we get over this, guys, which we will, it's going to be fine. We are going to be stronger. So once we get over this, who do you need to bring into the environment? So that's another big piece, because again, whether you have a small school or a big school, kids need to see other people. They need to see people, and they're going to find out that connection to those different people. So to recap this, reimagine your environment at school, in your classroom, and at home. How do we do it? Use all your senses, okay? Think about, what do you want to see? What do you want to hear? What do you want to smell? What do you want to feel? And get your kids' input, because they need to see themselves in that classroom, in the people in your school, and in the experiences that you are providing them. So the environment is huge. And so this is a great time for us to reflect as school leaders, but also as teachers, educators, and we all need to reflect on what can we do differently in our environment to create that place where kids feel welcome, loved, and they feel like they're going to have an amazing, fun experience. So I hope you have a great day. We'll come back tomorrow and we'll talk about reimagining some other part of our school, our classroom, and our life. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care.